Good morning, afternoon or evening. My name is Emily. I'm an artist and jewellery maker. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video I thought I would show you what project I have been currently doing. It's a bit of a side project. I just finished a project for an exhibition that I'm taking part in. I will link that video below if you are interested. But I wanted to find something that I could do in the evening after that when I'd been blending clay colours with pasta machines all day. I was quite tired and I just needed something a bit more sort of gentle and relaxing, and I do find journaling does that for me. So I wanted this to be sort of like an art log journal displaying all of my art supplies. So I wanted to log everything that I had for many reasons, one of them being the fact that I can then create colour schemes, but also because I like mixed media, I like to be able to have lots of different supplies on the go at the same time within projects. So I wanted to be able to see how they would kind of interact with each other, both colour bases, but also whether there's more of a transparent sort of finish or not. So I kind of can plan a little bit more sort of efficiently with that. But then quite simply, another reason is because I bloody love a list. I am rather fond of a spreadsheet, logging all different things. I'm quite organised in that respect. There's certain aspects of my life that is not very organised that I really could do with some lists and organisations of and an occasional log. But when it comes to things I take great pleasure out of, like art and crafts and things, I think lists and trying to organise things like that gives me a sense of comfort. I love seeing everything, I love seeing all the colours, so a lot of that is to just tickle that part of my brain as well. So in this video it will be more of a time lapse of the creation of this art supply log, and then in the next video I'll be flipping through it to show you how it's all laid out and show you all of the art supplies and all of the swatches that I have done. It gives me a chance to do a few more of the finishing touches within that, and then I thought I'd show you everything. I've done it in sort of a journaling style, like I said, because I do enjoy that sort of junk journal, layered stickers, washi tapes, all of that. I find it quite therapeutic to do, as well as I think it's very aesthetically pleasing. I have split the journal into two main sections, so you've got the painting and the drawing. The drawing will have things like pencils, pens, things like that, and the painting will have more wet media like the standard watercolours and acrylic paints, gouaches, but I will also put inks within that category as well, because I do predominantly have acrylic inks which I think work more like a paint because of the fluid nature, but also the fact that they set. I don't tend to draw with ink. I don't use black ink with a brush as like a drawing medium. I'm more likely to use it as a paint medium. And then the actual items are split into brands, so I can keep everything together because I'm more likely to know a certain colour by its brand first than its colour. So if, for example, I chose like neutrals and wanted warm browns and cool browns, I'm more likely to get mixed up if I was looking for, say, Derwent Lightfast in taupe. But then I can see that because it's a Derwent Lightfast, I can find that straight away. So if I'm trying to find things to go with that colour, etc., it'll make it a lot easier for me because I'm more likely to know the brands than the colour and which colour family my indecisive little soul decides to put it in, because sometimes I can take things a little bit too seriously. As for the items that I'm using for journaling, I will pop what I can below. So I buy a lot from small businesses if I can, and have done for many, many years. So I've accumulated quite a lot. If I can link them below, if they're still around and stuff, I will do. And if I can find more general things like the pens that I use for writing down the names and whatnot, I'll pop those as well. If they are Amazon links, they will be affiliate links, so I will earn a small commission. It's a great way for you to support my channel without costing you any extra, but I do gain a small commission, which I can then use to put back into my channel. If that isn't something that you fancy, then I completely understand. So I have also named the product below as well if you want to find your own version of that. Certain supplies that I'm swatching have different ways that I use it, so I do try to indicate that within the swatch. For example, with these pencils, sometimes I like to use them as like a solid colour to really work in that saturation, and then other times I like to blend it out, for example, with portraits and whatnot. So with the pencil crayon specifically, I did a large circle of just saturated colour and then did the gradient as well, so it makes it a lot easier to see what the colour looks like as it's more kind of blended out, and then I know what to go with that. So if I wanted things to be a bit more, say, yellow toned of a green than say a blue toned of a green, I can work with that, so I can gain the foliage sort of finishing touch that I am after. I have also swatched the items that I'm swatching on specific papers that I'm more likely to use it on. So with these pencils, I'm more likely to use it on a cartridge paper, or I find that the best swatch I can get out of it is a cartridge paper because it's not got too much of a grain, but it still has a bit of flexibility. It's not overly thick, so it doesn't kind of wear the pencil down as I wouldn't want, or it kind of makes the pencil look its best. So that's why I wanted to choose that to swatch pencils on. Then, for example, with the watercolours, I'm more likely to get the best sort of swatch out of a cold press because of the texture. You can see the granulation, you can see all of the separations within that and how it's more likely to perform. It has a little bit more absorbency, so that is the best way I can see how the watercolour performs when I'm more likely to use a watercolour. So I wanted the swatches to be as accurate as possible for when I'm more likely to use the items as they are intended or as I intend to use them. One thing you might be wondering is why they aren't swatched in colour order. As I've previously mentioned, I love things that are organised and aesthetically pleasing, but I think it would annoy me more if I bought, for example, a red and I had swatched all the reds together and there was then no room to put another red or two. I think that would irritate me more, so I thought I would swatch them more randomly, so then as I get other shades within the lines, or if I'm more likely to want to see how they contrast with each other, I thought it'd be more accurate to see them without a specific sort of cohesive order for that reason. Do I have the urge to make some nice gradients? Of course I do. I am me. I'm an artist. I love things to look nice and in colour spectrum order. However, I think the irritation that it would give me when things aren't looking like that and there's a rogue blue looking like it should not be there, I thought that would definitely get on my nerves, so I didn't want to do that. Life has enough stresses and disappointments that why would I want to see a yellow in place where a red should be, or a purple in the place where a brown should be? This disjointed and unnecessary stress is not something I would like to be a part of. Thank you very much. With making this log, I wanted to see how I'm more likely to want to use it and whether it would be something I could keep up with. So initially I just started putting the names in, and I find from other journaling experiences like my reading journal and stuff, I am more likely to fill it in if when there's a new edition needing to be written in, I don't have to do a massively long sort of arduous amount of work. I think sometimes that can put me off, and then the perfectionist element of if it goes wrong and I've done all that work, I think that definitely gets in my head a little bit, so I thought I'd try to keep it as sort of brief as possible, so I just have the colours within the swatches and the names. I think as well I'm quite familiar with my art supplies, so I could, for example, add that the Faber-Castells are more waxy in consistency, but because this log is predominantly for me and not for anyone else, I thought because I know that it's unnecessary work for something that is just a side project for me to do just to enjoy and to utilise as and when I see fit. I want to be able to use this log, so for me being able to cross an item out, for example saying that I'm not using this item anymore because it's ran out, or the material I wasn't as fond of, so I have it swatched but I won't repurchase it. I want that element to be within that log because I think that'll be more useful for me. So if I get sucked in with an art supply deal and I see an item thinking, did I like that item? Did I like that formula? I can then look back and think, well, no, I didn't, or yes, I did. So I know I can make more informed and make clever decisions when it comes to art supply purchases. I have a lot of art supplies, so I don't need to buy a lot more, and if I'm going to be adding something into my collection, I want it to actually have a use. I'm not just buying something for the sake of buying things. I remember when I first got into art supplies, especially when it came to things I wanted to experiment more with my skills and stuff, I felt a little bit more enticed to do that, and I had the funds to be able to do that. I think nowadays I'm more stricter with that because, for one thing, I don't have the funds for that. And another thing is I have plenty, and I don't want to have surplus. I don't want unnecessary amounts of art supplies and space for that. My partner would not be happy if I needed another bookshelf just for paints. That is valuable bookshelf space that could be utilised for board games, which is his obsession. That being said, I am well aware I do have crossovers within my collection. Sometimes when you're buying online, you don't necessarily see things as, I suppose, realistically swatched within that. So sometimes I buy things accidentally looking rather similar, but other times I think it's quite handy to have different brands. I did a video a while ago within an art supply playtime where I think I had 5 or 6 art supplies, and I tried to make them work within a painting. So I did a bathroom painting, like a sanctuary, something nice and light and pretty. So that's a video I would like to do a bit more of, kind of almost like a series where I'm picking art supplies and just trying to do something with them. Art supplies I might not necessarily put together, but I want to make work together, if that makes sense. So if that's something you would like to see more of, do let me know. I also need to think of a bit of a funky name for that because I do love me a good name for a series, something enticing. But I thought that would be something I would love to do, partially to test my skills and my versatility as an artist, but also I think to just have a bit of a play, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but it's a learning curve along the way, and I get to try and see how art supplies work together and maybe fall in love with an art supply more, or maybe never touch an art supply again. Who knows? I think within that art log as well, I'm going to include those experiments within this as well, and having a picture of the art that I have made with these art materials, and also having a swatch of the colour scheme that I've chosen as well, with a list of all the materials and what I thought of that. I do like sort of the research aspect of using materials in that. I mean, I have several journals for various research things that I enjoy doing, so I think it's fair to say I enjoy documenting things within lists and journals with stickers and washi tape. So I think it's just something I find quite soothing for my soul, and I will also be more than happy to add that in videos as well. So after perhaps maybe doing 2 or 3 of those little experiments, whether I film them or not, I then might do a video documenting all of those and think about how I'd like to put that together in like a page spread composition, and I might even film that for you as like a bit of a journal with me if that's something that you would like to see. I'm also currently doing a 30 before 30. Me and my sister are turning 30 next, and we've kind of done a bit of a bingo on what we'd like to achieve by the time we are 30. One thing I would like to tick off for my 30 before 30 bingo is to finish an entire sketchbook. So I might also utilise these sort of swatches and experiments within that sketchbook as well. I am currently drawing a hedgehog as a light bulb because why wouldn't you? I do love me some surrealism and merging things that perhaps shouldn't go together, but yet they do in a very adorable way. So maybe if I did that with 6 or 7 art supplies that I am trying to work together, that would be quite fun. I have also just had an idea of, I do a lot of artist studies in my sketchbook because I like learning from the art masters and doing like master studies of their masterpieces and whatnot. I've said masters too many times and now it sounds weird, but I thought I could do a study of a famous painting in 5 art supplies. So I tried to recreate that painting in 5 art supplies, or do a sketch or a rendition of that painting with 5 art supplies and see how that goes. That would be quite fun. Also challenging, but I do love me a challenge, and if it all goes horribly wrong, we will never speak of this again and we pretend that this never was discussed and will never happen. What did you say? I said nothing. I am also tempted to maybe add a wish list to this log so I can hopefully, again, make more informed decisions on items I would like to introduce to my art supply collection. If it's an item that I can then look through my collection and find an alternative or something similar that I could work in a similar way, and it has more than just a couple of uses. For example, it's not just a perfect branch silhouette colour, it's something that I could utilise for many different reasons, and I could maybe think about purchasing it. Side note, I'm on the hunt for the world's darkest green pencil, and I think that is just a permanent state that my mind is always in on trying to find, and I need to learn that I have enough dark green pencils. Does anyone else have that random obsession with an art supply that they just can't seem to get off of their radar, and they just are never satisfied with what they have and they still think but that could be the perfect one? Mine is dark green or any green pencil crayons. Back onto clever purchases. If it is something that I have since found an alternative within my collection, or it's something I am not as fond of the idea, or I've not thought about it since, then I can give a round of applause to myself for not falling into the art supply swatch lure. But that is the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video or like me, please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you here enjoying all of my arty endeavours. I'm sorry if it's been mildly chaotic. I'm in one of those moods where I actually slept longer than 4 hours, so I'm a little bit hyper. And if you have heard any squeaking in the background, that is because the guinea pigs are also finding my hyperactivity somewhat contagious, so any squeaks are not from me, they are from my guinea pigs. Like I have said, any of my favourite journaling shops that I get my stickers and washi tapes from, I will link below, and anything more general that I can link below that are more for journaling supplies, like pens and stuff, I will also link below, and I have said they will be Amazon affiliate links. Other than that, my Etsy shop and Instagrams will also be linked below. The next video will be an art supply log flip through, and that's the end of this video. I really hope you have a truly magical rest of your day. Please stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!